Hi, welcome to Watch It Played. My name is Rodney Smith. In this video, we're going to learn how to use these tiles that are an expansion called Veterans of the Seas for Tsuro of the Seas, published by Calliope Games. As players, you can decide to include some or all of these tiles to add new elements to the gameplay. This is the mystical portal. It gets shuffled into the wake deck during the setup, but once you have it in your hand, you may play it instead of a normal wake tile, or you may play it if you are faced with an elimination, even by another player. You place it following the normal tile rules, but any ships or Daikaju that move into it now, or in the future, will be transported to a new space. If more than one game piece had entered the portal at the same time, resolve them each in player order, however the active player moves last, and then any affected Daikaju. Each game piece will have 2 dice rolled for it separately, and then that piece will be moved to the space where those die results intersect. If the space is empty, the player puts a tile there from their hand. They pick a wake, start on it, and follow it through to the end, as usual. If a ship is moved to a space where there's already a tile, the player picks a wake to start on and travels along it as well. The portal will remain in play for the rest of the game and can even share space with the Tsunami and Whirlpool tiles, which we'll look at in a moment. But basically this means when moving to this space, you can still activate the effect of the portal and avoid the Tsunami and Whirlpool tiles, even though they're on that space covering it up. And here are the 2 Tsunami tiles. During the setup, shuffle the one with the gold triangles into the wake stack and leave the other one to the side for use later. As soon as a player draws the gold Tsunami tile, they must place it face up on the board in a random orientation, using the typical dice placement rules. Let's assume it came into play like this. The triangle with the number 2 is always its starting strength and the direction that the Tsunami will move for the rest of the game. The tile also represents a massive tidal wave that includes the space it is in and all spaces extending from the 4 here and the 3 here. So basically the entire row. To help keep track of this, place the blue Tsunami's tile with its number 2 directly facing the other tile's number 2. If players ever enter or pass through the same row as the tidal wave, they must roll a single die, matching or beating the tidal wave's strength. If they fail, their ship capsizes and they are removed from the game. From now on, just before the player who placed the Tsunami originally takes their next turn, the Tsunami tile will move. And it moves advancing closer to the blue tile. As it moves, you then rotate it, so now its strength is 3. And you should rotate the blue Tsunami tile so its value matches as well. This does not change the direction of the tidal wave. It's still taking up this full row now, but its strength is 3. Each time the Tsunami advances, you will rotate it until its strength reaches 4. It will stay at a strength of 4 until moving it again would remove it from the board, in which case the Tsunami is over and both of these tiles are removed from the game. The gold tile doesn't take up space on the board. In other words, it doesn't affect other ships or tiles directly. If it would get in the way of a ship or tile, just move it to the side on the same row. Next is the Whirlpool tile, which is shuffled into the Daikaju deck during setup. When drawn, place it on the board using the standard die rolling method. The Whirlpool will move anytime you fail to roll a 6, 7, or 8 when checking to see if the Daikaju move. Then, roll a single die and move the Whirlpool based on its arrows. If you roll 5 or 6, it doesn't move at all, because it doesn't have those values. Basically, the Whirlpool destroys everything. So when it moves onto a tile or a ship, they're removed from play. If it moves onto a Daikaju, it's removed from play. And if a Daikaju lands on top of a Whirlpool, the Whirlpool survives, but the monster goes. The Whirlpool will only leave the game if it exits the side of the board, in which case it's removed from the game permanently. Also, the Whirlpool doesn't count against the 3 minimum Daikaju that should be in play. So with these 2 and a Whirlpool, we'll still need to add a 3rd to the board. Finally, we have the cannons, which are shuffled into the wake deck during the setup. If you draw one, you have 2 choices. Keep it secretly in your hand, or reveal it and then permanently remove it from the game. If you do that, you can then draw a new wake tile right away. At most, you can only have 2 cannons in your hand at a time. Anytime you would be eliminated by a Daikaju, you may instead reveal a cannon you have, and the Daikaju is destroyed instead. The cannon is then removed from the game. The active player may also play a cannon to destroy a Daikaju directly adjacent to his or her wake path. And that's everything you need to know to use the Veterans of the Seas expansion in your Tsuro of the Seas games. If you have any questions at all, don't hesitate to put them in the comments below, and thanks for watching.